I'm a little sceptical. I think the case hasn't yet been made as well as it ought to be, because we're talking about a huge project, 50 billion. That's at the current cost. Goodness knows what it would be in 10 or 20 years' time.
I think that only gets you to Birmingham.
Well, indeed. So, I mean, the cost is going to go up and up. And we have to face it. I mean, I remember the row in the House of Lords and, indeed, the House of Commons a little while ago about the West Line fiasco. But the Department of Transport was really seen to be completely incapable.
But the Transport Secretary, Patrick McLaughlin, says we've now got the Olympic Dream Team running the project. The former local bosses, Sir David Higgins, and now HS2 Chairman and Infrastructure Minister Lord Dayton. Does that reassure you a little bit more?
It reassures me a little bit more, but there are still huge questions to be answered. And I think the government does have to go that extra mile to satisfy sceptics that this really is good value for money. After all, we should be sceptical. This was an old project from the last Labour government, and as a decent Tory, I'm always sceptical about projects of that sort.
Well, and now, of course, as you know, Labour look as if they may be wobbling somewhat in terms of value for money. Would you encourage Tory MPs to back Labour if they decide to withdraw their support of HS2?
I want the government to do a lot more explaining of the details, the costs, and making us absolutely convinced, because it does have a checkered track record after the West Coast Line, that it absolutely can deliver on budget, on time, and deliver the results that they are forecasting.
The problem is, supporters of HS2 will say, we'll never build anything in this country. There's always going to be scepticism about whether a project is value for money.
Like Heathrow's third runway,
well,
perhaps.
That's going to run and run and run.
I mean, well, precisely. So, I mean, why is HS2 so much more important than, for instance, a third runway at Heathrow?
Because Patrick McLaughlin, again, not that I'm necessarily being his spokeswoman here, but he's saying he told the Conservative Conference high-speed line would leave the country stronger and provide a boost for all of the great cities he's talking about, Manchester and Leeds and Sheffield and Nottingham and Derby. This is something that will create a link between the north and the south, and that people down south, he says, should just stop moaning.
One conference speech isn't enough. This is such a massive project, it needs selling to the hilt, and I don't think that we have yet done that.